dads with their 11-year-old sons right now who probably like to hear the cursing, but if it's a steady stream, they might not get to hear your Porzingis take in 5 minutes.
I'll try to.
I want you to have a Porzingis-gasm.
A
Porzingasm?
Sure. Porzingasm, the zinger.
Zingergasm?
I want to hear your take on Porzingis more than my take on Porzingis.
Let's do it. Let's first of all.
I am Michael Rapaport.
It's a pleasure to have you on the Bill Simmons podcast.
I'm so happy to be here.
We used to be our neighborhood arch rivals. Then we became friends.
Quickly.
And then you had one of the greatest podcast hits I've ever done.
On the old podcast.
You came in hot like a year and a half ago on the old BS report. You came in hot.
I tried to get...
you came in like red hot.
Yes.
Like you came in like when J.R. Smith gets hot like once a year.
Yes.
You came in hot.
You're
making 25-footers.
Yes. And I pleaded and begged for Steve Kerr to come to the Knicks, and then I pleaded and begged for Mark Jackson to come to the Knicks, and they both didn't come to the Knicks.
You tried to Jedi mind trick both of them like they weren't men.
Right, like as if me on your podcast was gonna turn the whole fucking thing around. One curse, I didn't need that curse.
No, you didn't need it.
I didn't need that one.
Listen, I
beep
just want
that
you to
one
think
out,
about
Tate.
it.
Just beep that one out. Can
No,
we beep?
it's good.
Let me get 3 beeps.
We don't need to beeps.
No,
We
just
don't
give me
need
3
beeps.
beeps.
We don't need
All right,
beeps.
fine. Because now you got me self-conscious. Listen,
So instead you got Derek Fisher, who every game his beard looks different. I don't know if he's putting on fake beards, if it's like a Harrison Ford fugitive thing, or
he's like Henry Hill, the Henry Hill of coaches.
He's. I actually think he might have been replaced. Like all of a sudden now he doesn't have a neck.
They got
like
a new
the Matt
guy in
Barnes
there.
thing. I feel like they surgically repaired his face and they've been hiding it.
They like, yo, what do you? Let me, I like to throw the questions at you. See, the thing about
please do.
The thing about coming on your podcast, and that's why I said to you, and I'm going to throw this at you on the air about you coming on my podcast, is I have so many more questions for you than you could possibly have for me. So wait,
this is all obscuring the fact that Knicks fans feel good for the first time in like 15 years.
The Knicks fans feel good because Porzingis is getting tip dunks.
All right, so
that's how low our standards are.
Let's go through the whole cycle of Porzingis.
Okay.
You have the 4th pick.
Yes.
You almost trade the 4th pick, which a lot of people don't know.
Okay.
Draft day, the Celtics are trying to move up. You're going to move back from 4 to 9. Charlotte's going to move back, where it's a 4-team deal. And the Knicks actually are in.
To trade the 4th pick.
They're going to trade the 4th. They're going to pick up an extra 1st and move back 5 spots and take Kaminsky, I think.
You just said some crazy basketball nerd shit to me.
There.
I don't know what the fuck. But the math you just said to me, like...
So the Knicks are going 4 to 9.
4 to 9.
The Celtics are going like 16 to 4, but they were giving up like 4 of their picks.
Okay.
Charlotte was moving backwards, and then I think the Hawks were moving way back.
Okay.
And Charlotte backed out.
And that was the end of that.
And the Knicks were like, fine, I guess we'll take Porzingis, who is now a franchise player.
How?
I think he's a franchise player.
How?
All right, but so
I'm not saying, like, when they first drafted him.
Did you freak out?
Well,
you probably wanted Justice Winslow, right?
I just didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like. There was a YouTube video of him shooting, and he's so prepubescent.
Right.
He hasn't went through puberty. We don't know if he's had sex or not. He may or may not be the only virgin in the NBA, and not by choice. Like it's not like AC Green. Okay, so he looks so young. He absolutely like. I like my 1st round picks to be shaving at least 3 to 4 times a week. That's just me. I want a man to come in there, not a 19-year-old who's from a country that may or may not. Is that even a real place? Lativia? Is that a real country?
Latvia.
Is that on the map, or is it one of these newfound places? Like I didn't know anything about that.
It's a place. It's somewhere in the Russia vortex.
Okay, so what we've been through with draft pick. Yeah, we don't know where that place is. You don't really know, and you're a smart guy. You got books around here. Like no one really knows. And then you see this 7'3" child.
Yeah.
And all you see is YouTube videos of him shooting around. Let me tell you something.
And you have some Yijin Lan flashbacks. You have some Nicholas Chishkavili flashbacks.
Right. And the French guy.
The Fred Weiss.
Yes. Who never came over here. Who's like paperwork.
Never came.
Right.
Never made it.
So we don't know if Porzingis has got his paperwork cleared or whatever. Right. And let me tell you something, Bill. If I went in your backyard and I shot around and you post on YouTube, if we edited it right, I got hot, you could say Rapaport has got a fucking mean stroke. So it was just a shock to
That's
everybody.
True.
And then you can't say his name, and it's Chris. Is his name Chris? Is it Kristaps? What's your name? And like it was just a lot of confusion.
The name was tough. Kristaps does sound like Kristaps Porzingis could easily be a Victoria's Secret model.
Exactly. It could be some fine ass
Right.
19-year-old.
Or an actress, like in like some TNT show you're doing with Ed Burns.
Exactly.
She's like the lead actress. Nobody's heard of her yet.
Exactly, but she's
oh, yeah,
great.
Kristaps Porzingis is in it.
She's
beautiful.
fantastic.
Yeah, great
she's
body.
great, and she does the New York dialect fantastically.
Right.
You'd be shocked.
Right.
So I think all that was what for me and the fans were like, what's going on here? Because we're so fragile. We're fragile.
All
Nick
right, so
fans
you
are
have
fragile.
that. There's no reason to trust Phil Jackson yet. It's unclear if he's working 25 hours a week.
That I don't
Doesn't
agree
even
with.
totally live in. I'm just saying you had no reason.
No, we had no reason. And,
You didn't know if he was even in New York all
no,
the time.
we don't know. We don't
Could
know.
have been like where he lives, Palos Verdes.
Yeah,
wherever the
we
hell
don't
he
know.
lives.
We don't know for sure.
He might be there right now.
We don't know. We don't know for sure.
So you have that, and then on top of it, you just have a natural fear of all Knicks moves.
Natural fear of all Knicks moves. We've been beaten down. It is an abusive relationship. It has become an abusive. It is abusive.
Be careful. I know you're going to make some analogy here that we're going to have to edit out. So don't
What
even say
like
anything.
saying
no,
like
don't. No,
okay, fine, but
no.
it is an abusive relationship. We've been
Yep.
through a lot, and then the whole high of the great 30 for 30 when the Garden was eaten, directed by Michael Rapaport
Yes.
under your tutelage and stuff, and then Phil Jackson comes and the editing of When the Garden Was Eaten, which I did direct, and the hype of all that, and then the first year of Phil coming, and it was shockingly bad. But it wasn't Phil's. Like, we thought that Phil was going to just go presto changeo and do like a Doug Henning thing and it was going to all get fixed. But last year was worse than you could have imagined.
Well, but then with the turn at the tail end of, okay, this is really horrible, but at least we're going to get one of the top 3 picks and possibly the number 1 pick.
Exactly.
And then you win 2 games in a row in like the last week or whatever happened.
What
was the Langston Galloway game where he got red hot?
Yeah, I don't know. But I know what you mean. Like, it was
I know a Knicks fan who said it was one of the 5 worst moments of his life.
was when Langston Galloway got hot.
Whatever that game was when you were supposed to
I think it
lose
was
the
for
game.
San Antonio or
It was
somebody.
like 3. All right, keep talking. I'm going to look it up.
But the thing is that it was just so you get all these guys and all these other children that are in the draft. Justice Winslow, who I don't think shaves, and Karl Anthony Town, who's going to be the
Right.
Rookie of the Year, and
That
he could play.
That guy's a beast.
I saw him play a quarter the other day, and he's the Rookie of the Year because
He's the only guy like.
NBA ready.
Well, you trade Porzingis for Towns.
Yes. He could play. He could
I don't know
pass.
if anyone else in the draft you would trade Porzingis for. I don't think I would.
Why are you so impressed with Porzingis so far? Now, I'm not saying I'm not. This is what I like about Porzingis so far. Obviously, he's tall. He's aggressive. He's not timid. He has a skill set. My fears are the size of his feet. What size feet does he have? Those are big boats. Those big boats, they make me nervous. They look, you feel like it's like a Ralph Sampson, kind of thing, or like.
Oh, you think like his body's going to break down?
He's just really tall, and there's a lot, there's a lot there, and he's underdeveloped, physically.
Here are the games. Game 80, you beat Orlando by 1,
Right.
and then game 81, you beat Atlanta by 4.
And that was it.
You just lose those last 2, you're pretty much guaranteed a top 3 pick.
Right. And then
Now it worked out because you got Porzingis.
And so what do you think of Porzingis
All right,
so
so
far?
first
You're
of
saying
all-
a franchise player. That's what Bill Simmons is saying right now, that Porzingis is, after seeing him play, 5 or 6 games?
Well, first of all, I was impressed with him in Summer League.
Yes.
I was
But
totally
I
ready
had
to
a
make
couple of good
Porzingis
games in
jokes
Summer
for the next
League.
12 years. No, I was just like, oh.
2013, look me up, Summer League.
I know you had a
had
couple
2
good
good
celebrity
games.
games,
14
too.
points.
I didn't understand the pick because I didn't understand how you would have Porzingis, but then Carmelo at the tail end of his prime. The two things don't make sense because if you have Carmelo in the state he's in now, you're trying to win the title.
Right.
This is now a 2 to 3 year building plan.
Right.
By the end of that building plan, Carmelo will no longer be in his prime. And that's the part I didn't understand. It's like, oh, well, if they're going to do this, they'll obviously trade Carmelo, right? And then the Knicks are like, no, actually what we're going to do is we're going to spend $100 million on Robin Lopez and Aaron Aflalo and Kyle O'Quinn. And we're going to be like a 43-win team. That's the part I didn't get. With that said, Porzingis was the right pick. And here's why I like him.
Tell me what you like about him.
Things. All right.
Tip dunks.
Shockingly tall.
7'3", like for real.
But 7'3", like a real, doesn't like slouch over 7'3", like stands up straight 7'3".
He's Lativian and he's proud.
Reminds me, I remember seeing Smits in the whenever draft he was, like 87, 88,
Right.
before he started to hurt his feet.
Right.
Young Smits was really athletic.
Yes.
And like when you saw him in person, you say to yourself, holy mackerel. Like this guy's like white Ralph Sampson.
Yes.
And then he got hurt and his game changed, but reminded me a little of Young Smits, but that he has 25-foot range.
Yes.
And he's athletic.
Yes.
And he's tough.
Yes,
he's not
tough.
like one of these weak foreign guys that come in. Like this guy's like he's got a little attitude.
No,
to
he's
him.
got attitude.
I liked how he handled the fact that the Knicks fan he got booed during the draft.
Yep.
The Knicks fans were mad after.
I went nuts.
He had a great attitude about it.
I agree.
He was just like, all right, I'm going to show these guys that they're wrong. He
Yep.
wasn't like,
Yeah, no,
these
he was.
fans don't like me.
He's aggressive.
But here's what I
Did you
really
see the pictures of him when he was young with the cornrows?
Oh, yeah.
I think he was a gangbanger back then.
He might have been.
He was bout it. Like
He
he
might
looks
have been
like
in the Crips.
you remember that?
Latvian Crips.
Remember that that HBO doc, Banging in Little Rock?
Oh yeah.
He
Like,
was
I
banging
don't.
in Little Rock. He was banging in Lativian.
You act like I haven't seen every gang and hooker
I know
doc
you-
that
that's why I
every
was just-
HBO has ever done.
Bill, you're like a.
I know,
I was
I'm
gonna
like
say.
a
I was
swine.
gonna say. I was gonna say F again.
Good one.
I held it back.
Good hold back.
I know you've seen it. I know maybe you hadn't seen it or thought about it recently.
Here's what I love about Porzingis. I was actually arguing about this yesterday with the 4 people I'm working with from the old Grantland people. When he's out there, the other team's kind of messed up by it.
Yes,
They're worried about him.
I agree.
I always judge. I think football and basketball are 2 great examples of this. When you see the other team react to certain people, like there'll be wide receivers in football, and the guy's like in motion, everyone's like pointing,
Right,
and they're freaking out. And in hoops, you have this 7'3" guy who can shoot 25-footers, and if you run out at him, he's still going to be able to shoot over you
Because he's so tall.
We've never seen a stretch 5 who could be like, yeah, run out at me, I'm still going to shoot over you.
Right.
So what do you do if he becomes really good? What do you do? How do you stop that? Because on the other end, he knows how to use his body, holds his hands
Yeah.
up, and he's actually kind of effective defensively. Like he's not
so tall.
He's not Sean Bradley, just
No.
like crouching down and getting
He's a
dunked on.
gangbanger. I
Yeah.
mean, Sean Bradley, if he had been in a gang, the way we're just saying that Porzingis was, I mean, in the name Porzingis, like he was in some sort of gang with that name, like P Zinger,
PZ.
P Dog, something like he was in
Yeah.
a gang. I'm not.
So
I'm
I
not
don't
for
think
sure.
he could be. I don't think he'd be the best player on a championship team.
I agree.
But I think with one other guy, if it's him and someone else, you could win the title with
Him
him,
and
if he
Carmelo?
stays healthy.
Do you think
Not in the next 2 years.
if you had to bet every piece of memorabilia in this house that
Yeah.
the Knicks would win a championship with Carmelo and Porzingis, and you say, "Yo, it's all this memorabilia."
I would say 0% chance.
Holy. I was going to say shit again. You got in my head. You're in my head now.
I think
Listen,
I
dads
think
that are
Carmelo
listening
gets
to this
traded.
with your 11-year-olds, your kids are listening to filthy hip hop. So me saying the F-bomb to forward motion myself and my lack of communication skills, just bear with it, okay?